you're wishing to participate in citizens communications, you can call between 9 a.m. to 11:30 or 4 p.m. to 773-1111 and ask for Ms. Imelda Rodriguez, or email her at irodriguez@eaglepasstx.us, and you will be able to leave your concern, and it will be brought up to council. At this time, we'll take establishment of quorum with all members of council being present, including Councilwoman Ramon on video conference. At this time, we'll take a moment of reverence. In particular, yesterday being Memorial Day, a day that we honor and remember all those that gave the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms and our liberties. We are forever grateful and thankful for them. For our first responders who continue to be in the front lines on COVID-19, and all those other service members that are serving not only here but around the world. Thank you. At this time, we'll entertain any citizens' communications recognitions.
None submitted.
None submitted. Thank you. All right, moving on to ordinances. Item number 1, second reading of an ordinance deleting section 19-58I3 of chapter 19 of the Code of Ordinances and adding a new section 19-58I3, adopting a charity care policy of EMS services, finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law, providing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date. Jesse?
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. On the screen is the summary of the new ordinance for charity care. Again, just to summarize, the rules have changed when it comes to the federal funding for subsidizing communities that provide EMS services. So we need to change this policy, and so this policy will, it's a little bit more black and white in how the city determines how to waive fees for those that are uninsured.
All right, so this is the second reading, and it's just to be in compliance with the new state laws.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Second.
Second by Councilman Salinas. Anybody have further questions or concerns? None being, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Moving on to ordinances, item number 2, second reading of an ordinance of the City of Eagle Pass, Texas, amending section 19-146, Article 8, Chapter 19, offenses and miscellaneous, by adding new subsection A, B, to establish transactions and convenience fees, finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law, providing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date. Jesse?
Again, this is the second reading, and this is for the credit card transaction fees, since we are now launching accepting credit cards at various locations.
All right.
I'll make the motion again to approve.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Davis, second by Councilman Villalpando. Any other questions? Then being, take it to a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Moving on to resolutions, item number 3, consideration and possible approval of a resolution supplementing and or amending the current disaster declaration resolution by adding, modifying, and or revising measures to prepare for, respond to, and mitigate the spread of COVID-19. And on this one, just the governor has changed his governor's orders over the last few weeks. In his plan to open up Texas, some of his language supersedes what we have, and we really haven't moved our declaration from what it was. We still have a mandatory face mask, which of course we know we are not enforcing because we can't enforce it. So what we're doing, I'm asking the council to consider is, as the governor's making these changes, and he will make more changes next week, and so we don't have to be continuously changing the declaration orders locally and the discussion with the judge. We feel that it's best to just, since we can't override the governor's orders, just keep following in place what the governor is ordering. And our EOC team in particular is also asking for this because they're spending a lot of time and effort monitoring the businesses as they're opening up. but it's come to light that several individuals that have tested positive have not been following the quarantine guidelines. And last week, we were clear to point out that citizens who are testing positive and are not in compliance, they continue to go out into public and possibly exposing other people. They are going to file charges on those individuals. And so our EOC team, our task force in particular, wants to focus on that because we have a lot of individuals that are still positive. We had one person test on Friday, and it's the third time they've been retested to try to clear them, and they continue to be positive. So the task force in the EOC wants to focus on keeping track on all those individuals. And so in much discussion last week, they feel very comfortable to just follow the governor's orders, continue with the recommendations of wearing the face mask. Once again, we can't make it mandatory. We can't enforce it, unfortunately. And as if you've seen, we opened up the parks throughout the city and the county for walking and biking and running. And I was disappointed, and I think the whole team, EOC team, was disappointed that people were not wearing face masks, but we can't enforce it, unfortunately, because the governor says so. And with so many people with the COVID-19, task force feels better addressing those individuals than try to address everybody at a park. Right. So that's why they're recommending that we continue to recommend the face mask and not mandatory, not that we can. And also on essential businesses, there's a lot of essential businesses where you need to take your kids in to try on equipment, try on different things. So we've had a bunch of those calls as well. And so we still want to recommend one person per family. I think most people will continue to do that, but we do have a lot of single parents that sometimes they can't find anybody to, leave their kids with. And there was one lady in particular that told me she left her kids in the car at one business with the car running and everything, and she was still cited. And so that, it's a tough situation. I don't think everybody's going to go out there with all their families, but there are some instances also where some elderly people have contacted me, and that's their only out. I just want to be able to go, but I need somebody to help me but I want to go because, that's their only out of the day or the week. Mm-hmm. And so for that reason, we want to lift that as well, so we're not putting that pressure on our task force to be checking up on that when we have to be checking up on the, almost 70-something individuals that are still positive. And so that was a discussion we had last week, so I'm asking council to entertain, just follow the governor's orders, recommend the face mask when you're out and about, and especially in businesses. And, when you go into essential businesses, try to limit yourself to one. Just recommendations more so than actual mandates, so our task force can focus on the citizens that are testing positive. Motion made by Councilman Villalpando.
I'll second it.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Davis. Any discussion?
I just want to stress what you said, Mayor. We can't enforce the face mask, but it is strongly recommended that people follow the recommendations just for their own safety. And it's not that we want to open up everything, but we do have to follow the governor's orders, and we just don't have the power to override those orders. But that's all.
And I think we've been very fortunate. We didn't get a letter from the Attorney General, but many cities did, because their language was, and I would venture to say some of their language was like ours, or even less restringent, but a lot of cities have gotten those letters from Attorney Generals. I've seen some of them, and I don't think we're doing anything that's not to protect our citizens, but our task force and our EOC is asking, we're putting a lot of emphasis on monitoring businesses. We need to focus more of our energy on monitoring the people that are positive. And so for that reason, we've had much discussion last week, and that's why I asked for this item to be on the agenda. And rather than changing it every time the governor speaks out, it'll move forward with each declaration the governor gives. And that's something that we can do, Eddie? Unmute, there you go.
Mayor, if I may, I think it's just something that, really all we're asking the citizens is just to be respectful of each other, respect the spaces and respect everyone by using the face mask out in public.
You're absolutely right, Councilwoman Ramon. I think even the governor, even the president's team is saying to wear face masks, even though we can't, they're not saying it's a mandatory thing that we can apply. Now you hear it again, wear the face mask. So it is about respecting each other and keeping each other safe, and that's all we can hope. And I think there's going to be some people that unfortunately feel they don't have to do it, and I mean, unfortunately, we can't do anything because we've been restricted on that. So at this point, I think, Eddie, once again, we can just move forward. Each time the governor changes the order, especially as planned to open up Texas, do we have to come back and put it in there, or will this language suffice to just incorporate it as the governor opens up Texas?
The best thing to do is always to come after the governor has issued an order and adopt it at that point.
Okay.
But based on our telephone call, 30 or so minutes before the council meeting started, I've gone ahead and made the changes to where we were adding and any subsequent orders issued by the governor until further action by this council, that you're going to adopt them.
Okay, so as the governor comes with a new order, we still have to go in there and put it in there?
No, well, that's the best practice.
Okay.
But I'm adding the language that you and the one that we discussed with the city secretary, so that we will try not to come again every time he keeps changing the orders. And so
Yes.
we're adopting them by reference.
Okay.
So that's the second best way. And so, yeah, yes, I think you can. Yes, I am making the changes as you and the city secretary have requested, and hopefully that'll be sufficient.
Yeah, and just for everybody, where the social distancing is still there in the governor's order, the gatherings are still part of the declarations, and the gatherings, large gatherings right now, as per the governor's discussion last week on a phone conference, it's only for weddings. No other parties or venues are allowed to gather in larger numbers of 10 than a wedding. And, but he will make a new announcement next Wednesday, June 3rd, and we'll keep the public posted and such and bring it back to council if we need to. Any further discussion, any questions? All right, well, if there's no further discussion, we'll take it to a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. All right, moving on to item number 4, consideration and possible approval of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Eagle Pass, Texas, authorizing the use of competitive seal proposals as the method of purchase that provides the best value to the municipality for Westlake storm drainage improvements.
Mayor, Council, as with previous items, we're required to come before council anytime we want to use competitive seal proposals. So competitive seal proposals, just to recap, is a method of procurement that allows us to take other things into consideration other than price. Of course, price is the primary focus, but we want to take references, previous work history, and other items into consideration as well. So this is for the Westlake's drainage improvements. So what this includes is the detention pond, which is located south of Westlakes, and a drainage canal that goes alongside, adjacent to the sports complex. Is there any questions regarding this project?
No, so this is the method we're going to use. We're not, is it out already, the RFP?
No.
No?
So once we get the approval, we
Okay.
will publish it.
All righty. So is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Councilman Salinas, second by Mayor Pro Tem Davis. Any further discussion? Anything else to add, Jess?
That's it.
All right, we'll take it to a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Moving on to executive session. Executive session pursuant to section 551.071 and 551.072, chapter 551, Texas Government Code, consultation with attorney, and deliberation about real property regarding the donation agreement with Wico and Associates, LTD, and amendment number 1, and possible action in open session regarding same. Let the record reflect that the council went into executive session at 12:18 p.m. on May 26, 2020. Session at 12:33 p.m. on May 26, 2020. And moving on to executive session, item number 5, executive session pursuant to section 551.071 and 551.072, chapter 551, Texas Government Code, consultation with attorney and deliberation about real property regarding the donation agreement with Wico and Associates, LTD, and amendment number 1, and possible action in open session regarding same. On this item, council, as we discussed, we still haven't heard back from WECO on the terms of the amendment, but the terms have been drawn out to where we agreed to pay up to $300,000, and that includes the water line, which is basically what we need right now at this time. And any money left over will go on to helping them build a road. In addition, they're looking to see if they build our portion of the road and their savings, that we can give them up to 20% of that savings, but that's something they're still working on. We don't have those figures, so what I'd like to ask the council is to authorize city manager and myself to continue the negotiations and execute the terms of this agreement once we see what those cost savings are.
I'll make a motion to reflect those parameters.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Second.
Second by Councilman Salinas. Any questions? Nope. All right, no questions, then we'll take it to a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. All right, last item on the agenda.
I'll make a motion to.
Motion to adjourn made by Councilman Salinas. Second by Councilman Villalpando. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Have a nice day. Meeting adjourned at 12:34 p.m. on May 26th. Thank you, Ms. Ramon, for joining us online.
Bye, thank you.
Be careful out there.